what is Adobe Express? Why am I bothering to talk about it with you today? Well, it's a free thing provided by Adobe that's online that anybody can access, and you can use your web browser to get to. It has a few functions that come when you've got a paid for subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud, but you're not really missing too much other than stock images. So very briefly, I'll give a quick rundown of what we can use it for as educators. Then I'm going to get right in there after I've shown you a few different things on there, and we can start working together on things and trying to build things yourselves. So I'm going to put the hyperlink in the chat for how you get to the website, and it's new.express.adobe.com. And if you already have an institutional account, if you have Adobe Creative Cloud that you already use, you'll be able to sign in with your institutional account, usually going through the email option of there. If you don't, you can set one up very quickly using your personal Google account or whichever account you want to use for it. So as an educator, and when you're coming in it through the educational license, it gives you various options that are just renamed versions of stuff that's already on there. So it gives you class projects, and that's being able to make posters, videos, presentations, infographics, reports, web pages, cover pages, tables of contents, graphs, book covers, and other forms of graphs as well. And it gives you the option of learning aids as well, which are class schedules, planners, flashcards, graphic organizers, mind maps, and concept maps for you. Now, it's not the same as a full-on mind map software would be. You are having to drag and drop things yourself, move the arrows yourself on there, but it still looks good, and we'll have a look at those in a moment. It's got generative AI built into it. Everybody loves a bit of Gen AI nowadays. We've got text to image, so you're able to write in what you want, and it will give you an image following whatever description you put in. There's generative fill, so you can go in there, you can highlight something that you want to change and then change it. And there's text effects, so you can make really fancy looking text for banners and things like that. Also, in the beta side of things, they now have the ability to say, I want to generate a poster that is going to advertise this thing with this slogan at this time, and it will generate that for you. And there are a load of quick items as well that you can work on. But you're not here to have me just talk from a PowerPoint at you. We want to actually get our hands stuck in. So I'm going to change what I'm sharing. And we're going to swap directly into Adobe Express so you can see what it is that it does. So here's our Adobe Express and what it looks like when we go onto it. And this is the new look of it. So if you haven't used it recently, you probably haven't seen this look to it. It's been similar. Spark's been there for a while, and people might have used Adobe Spark previously. But this is now really focused around the sort of generative AI. And we can see here, we've got suggested things for building, and each one of these has templates as well that you can go from to work off to make your life easier. We've got those class projects. Let's go for a infographic and click Browse Templates. If you have an educator account, it would have those education things there for you. It would say class project, it would say learning aid on there. If not, it says slightly different things, but you can still get to each of those things. If you search for infographics, if you search for posters, if you search for reports, it will still give you those templates. It's just Adobe puts another layer over the top of it with slightly different nomenclature. So when we search for a template, it brings us into the designer side, and on the side, there are loads of pre-made templates that you can pick from. You can also do a search at the side to find exactly what you're looking for. So let's look for an infographic on creativity. And it's got loads of different ones there for us to go from. And we might want, let's go for 10 ways to stay creative. And it's pre-made something for us. It's got that different information in there. We're able to click into any one of these and we can start to change what it says. So keep a journal. If we want to, we can change the text on there to whatever we want to change it to. It also allows you to change the font style if you want to. So it's got a recommended suggestion up the top here, and it'll think through it and give you some ideas, or it should do. I may have picked the one thing that it's going to struggle with on this one. But usually when you're writing things in, it gives you some recommendations of, you might want to use this font, you might want to use this coloration for it, you might want to use this different thing to make it pop. There's hundreds of different fonts in there. So you've got basic fonts, and if you've got the premium version, all these ones with the little crowns next to them are ones that you can also use as well. If you've just got the free account, unfortunately, you're blocked from the crown ones, but you are able to go through and pick the different fonts that you might want to use. You can change. I'll try and grouping it, see if that fixes it. There we go. That's a bit better. The recommending's now working for me and giving me some ideas of how I might want it to be there. We've got, at the moment, it's Adobe handwriting, and it's got different people's handwriting that I can pick from on there. So that might be, if you're choosing a different font, that might be bold, italics, underlined, slightly different approaches to it on there. You can change the size of it. You can change whether it's underlined, italics, bold. Do you want it to be aligned to the left or the center or the right? Do you want it to be bullet pointed? How much line spacing and text spacing do you want on there? How do you want it to be laid out? You might think that's a bit boring, or you might want to go for a dynamic and have it look slightly different for us, or have it written in a circle or an arch or a bow, and it does it for you very quickly. So just at a click of a button, you're able to change how it looks on the page. You can choose what you want your things to be filled with or outlined with. How thick do you want the outline to be? How opaque do you want it to be? Do you want to add all sorts of different fancy effects to it as well? And you get this level of breakdown on every item that you have on the page. So you're able to really make it into something that you want it to be on there. Are there any questions at this point? Because that was a lot of me just going, blah. So I'll open it up, type in the chat or put in the question and answers if you've got anything in particular.
You've got a question from Charlotte already in the chat, Stephen.
Oh, I forgot. It's loading up for me now. Oh, how do I know if I've got an educator account? So for that educator account side of things, if you do have an education one, when you're on this landing page here, it'll say class projects, learning aids, events and clubs. If you're on a normal business one, you get slightly different things. So at the moment, you're not able to switch to educator unless you've got it paid for through an education license at your institution. But again, everything that's there is still there, just under different titles when you're on the business or the free side of things. At any point, you can write up at the top what you're searching for as well. So if I want to just search, let's search again for creativity. And it's going to give me loads of different templates, photos, backgrounds, videos, design assets that I might want to use in various different ways. It's brought up a load of ones with crowns on because I'm on a premium one. It's making those crown ones come up to the fore for me. But if you don't have that paid version, then there are plenty of ones that don't have crowns associated with them. Ruby's asking in the chat, do you know what a paid account costs off the top of my head and how many users can access it? Off the top of my head, no, I don't, unfortunately. I think for the full Creative Cloud in an education setting, it's around about £50 a head, but that's for the full suite of software. I know there is an Adobe Express cost, but I couldn't tell you what that specifically is. I know it's considerably cheaper than 50 quid a head, but it is still a premium product, so maybe somewhere between 10 and 20 a head. I'm not sure. So if you do have creative courses, chances are you do have this somewhere in your institution already. because Adobe is the standard for graphic design and for photography manipulation. Oh, there we go. Somebody's put it on their premium £10 a month. Somebody's put on the chat for us. So yeah, I was about right on that one. Mavis is asking, are you able to amend the template size? Yes, you are. So we could go into any template that we want. So let's go for nurture your creativity. And that template's going to come through to us here. And we've got the resize option there. So we can change it to whatever we want. If I want it to be an Instagram square post, click resize, it changes it to fit that. If we want it to be a considerably smaller logo, resize it. It doesn't look like much has changed there, but it has. It's now 500 pixels by 500 pixels rather than 1080 by 1080. Let's put it on the flyer instead. And again, it changes that aspect ratio and it keeps everything there for you as you're going on there. So going back to the main part here, it's got right there our generative AI tools for us to use. And it is as simple as just typing in a description of something. So I'm going to write a creative educator in a higher education setting, thinking outside the box. Now this could give us anything. Let's find out what it does. And in fact, let's do it soft focus and high art. Let's see what it comes out with. So it generates it pretty quickly for us on there, a few different pictures. And what I really like about the Adobe one that you don't necessarily find with others, none of these educators are white. So it's very good at actually giving you that diversity in there. When you're using things like DALL-E and Midjourney, very frequently its first go-to will be Caucasian for the people, whereas when you're using this, it does do it in different ways. You also then have loads of different styles that you can use. So I might want to change it to synthwave for us, and it'll choose a slightly different picture for us and make it look in that different way. So there we go. So it's changed it slightly for us, and we've got that more synthwave look to it. If I take that off, there's all sorts of different movements. We could make them steampunk professors. And it is quite fast at how it's doing it. It uses Adobe Firefly in the background to make this work. So you know, it's done it in a slightly more steampunk style for us on those. And these are currently going for photos, but I can make it be graphic instead. So if I go in graphic, it's not going to do that photorealism for us. It's going to do it more in the art graphic style for us. And hopefully you can see you could use this for a wide variety of different things, and you can be really specific in how you want to go on there. So obviously it's gone steampunk. We've got the sort of slightly more Victorian era imaginative things on there for us. So that's our text to image. We also have generative fill on there. So I'm actually not going to upload an image. I'm going to find an image that I've used previously. So let's go with this one here. So this image actually came from the stock photos, and originally this bit here, which we've currently got as a phone, was a calculator. And I used the generative fill and I told it to put a phone on the desk for me instead. So I'm going to click on the picture and I'm going to go into our generative fill. I've got a brush that I can draw with, so I'm going to just colour over that area. Just fill it all in on this bit here. And I now want it, instead of being a phone, I want it to be a book. And I've messed that line up terribly, so let me just start that again. As you can tell, I'm not a creative type. I can't draw in straight lines at all. But this particular piece of software is helping me unlock my creativity regardless of that fact. So I'm going to colour that in. And I just want to have an academic well, let's put academic journals stacked on top of the desk. Let's see how it copes with that on there. And it thinks about it. And this is something that previously was only in Photoshop. It's now freely available on Adobe Express for you to use. And it's kind of managed it. There are academic papers there now. And it's actually put a paper in the hand of the person doing the reading as well for me. I didn't ask it to do that, but it's thought, well, if you're going through and looking at papers, you probably want to have it in the hand. So it's then built that for you and just updated that image, and it even will add little bits in at the side there that don't really necessarily make sense. Like I'm not sure what's going on here, but it's trying its best to build something that's matching what you've asked it to do. So I think it's quite a useful tool, and the more specific you are in what you ask it to do, the more likely it is that you're going to get it. So let's have a look at the last one, which is our text effects, and my daughter loves this one. She likes making her name look as fancy as she possibly can. So she usually likes doing sparkly pink princess glitter. She's 5, so sparkly pink princess glitter with unicorns. Let's click generate.
Right.
It's going to think about it for a bit. There we go. It's ignored the unicorns bits, except for putting in like little twirls there. But you are able to make your own sparkly text on there. So to show you an actual use case of this, and again going back to my daughter, for homework, she was set make a poster about hot and cold places and the animals that you would find in them. So I brought her onto here, and she wrote in everything that she wanted, all the pictures that she wanted, and she told me where to put it because she's not quite got the fine mouse control yet to move it around. But she designed everything on this poster, bearing in mind she's 5. And I'll just let it load. It takes a little bit of time because it's pulling a lot of pictures from a lot of different places. But she was able to make the text look hot with the text function. She was able to make cold look cold with that text function. Obviously, her nice sparkly glittery name at the bottom in Evangeline, and all of these pictures, including the background image, including the arrows, everything, has come just from the Adobe images. So she was able to just type in giraffe and then pick the giraffe she wanted. She was able to pick kangaroo and get that, camels, get that, elephant and get that. So it was instantly there. This text choice here is using the dynamic shape to make it fill the bubble a little bit better. So the default was just like that. And then clicking dynamic, it just makes it look that little bit better. And the speech bubble is automatically behind it as well. So she was able to see her creativity there without having to draw anything, without having to faff too much. A couple of things I did help her with, these pictures came with backgrounds automatically on, white backgrounds, but she wanted the fire and the ice to show behind it. You could just click remove background. So that's what it originally looked like. Click remove background and it's taking it off for you. And that works on loads of different pictures. Obviously, that's a white background there, but it does work on more complicated pictures as well. Hopefully it'll work on this all right. It's definitely thinking about it. There we go. We've now just got the camels there. So it becomes so much easier. And yes, Heidi's message that she's feeling more confident about helping her 10-year-old make a World War II poster this evening. Yeah, exactly. It's right there. And when you come into the media, if we search the photos for World War II, lots of different pictures. And again, because I've got the premium ones come up first, but there are plenty of things in there that aren't premium that you can pull in, and they're still very high quality stock images that you are free to use. So that's one use case, is making these more interactive, interesting posters. And all of your students can do it. If a 5-year-old can do this, anyone can do it. And granted, to those with an artistic eye, this is incredibly busy and is probably making you want to cry a little bit. But it was what she wanted, and it worked really well in the end. Other things that we've got on there. Now, I'm just going to open up a file from my downloads for this. At Halloween, we wanted to make something fun for mummy. Because my wife is unfortunately disabled and found it very difficult to come out trick-or-treating with us. So my daughter wanted to make her something to make her feel part of the Halloween spirit. One of the tools that we've got built in here is Animate from Audio. And before I click in that, I'm going to show you what can be made by it so you can get a good taste of what there is. So let me just turn on audio like that. My daughter also knows that my wife hates being called mother, so bear that in mind as you watch this. Hopefully it'll open on the right window.
I love you, mother, 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 mother. I love you so much, mother. Mother, 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 mother. Please, mother, come back. Mother, mother.
So you get the idea on that. And that was as simple as her just recording her voice, and it did it for her. So if I click on this Animate from Audio, you have a shed load of pre-made things for it to use. So let's go for the Earth, for example. You can choose whatever background that you want. So let's put the Earth into space. But you've got all sorts of different backgrounds that you can choose from. We've got the different sizes as well. So we've got Instagram TV, we've got portraits, story reels, which is your TikTok size, landscape, whichever we want. So let's go for our TikTok reel like that. And let's resize for TikTok. There we go. And our character, we've got our character scale, so let's make them smaller so they'll fit on that TikTok screen for us. We've got a very handy enhance speech option, particularly if you don't have a recording studio at home. And it'll give me a 3-second countdown. And I'll just start recording, and you can see it's picking my voice up. The thing is flashing as it's thinking through what I'm saying. I'm just going to talk for about 10 seconds or so and then click done. So here we go. Click done on that. Whilst it's doing the calculations for you, it gives you these funny little animations at the top, which kids absolutely love looking at on there. It computes the lip sync for you. It computes all the different animations that it's going to use, and it creates a video for you to use, which will have that audio in the background where the little animated character will be speaking. And I've used this in master's assignments. So I'm doing a master's, and as part of my multimodality, I've used that instead of having my face just in the bottom talking. It makes it a bit more interesting. I've used it in TikTok videos to make it more interesting. So if I just put the sound back on there, click play. And I'll just start recording, and you can see it's picking my voice up. The thing is flashing as it's thinking through what I'm saying. I'm just going to talk for about 10 seconds or so and then click done. So here we go. So you can see how easy it is to make it. And yeah, it is a good quality recording, as Charlotte said. I'm just going to take a second to come through and check if we've got any more questions before I go on to anything else.
Stephen, there was a question earlier about Canva.
Yep. Oh, what I think about this compared with Canva.
Yeah.
I think they both do similar but different things on it. Personally, I prefer the Adobe one because I use Adobe products for other things, and I can create something in Illustrator, or I could create something in Photoshop or in Premiere Video. I can save it to my Creative Cloud, and I can then manipulate it on here. So that becomes a lot easier for me, and that process flow of moving things between just becomes a lot smoother. Canva has some slightly different options. For you, it works a little bit better on infographics, for instance. You don't need to move things around quite as much as you do in Adobe for that one, but it's all much of a muchness. And if you're getting it through your institution anyway, as many creatives will, it's definitely worth doing. I was asked to remind where the Animate from Audio tile is. It's under suggested quick actions, and you've got it here, Animate from Audio. There's also generate QR codes. You can convert things into PDFs. You can edit PDFs on there. You can resize any images that you've got. You can merge videos together. There's quite a few different functions on here that are useful across a whole suite of different things. So many of us will use Turnitin for checking assessments. Many of us will use Blackboard for submitting assessments. They only work with PDFs. So if you want to make sure that what students are submitting is going to work and is going to be accepted, that convert to PDF is a godsend. If you have cover sheets that need to go in, one of the things it's got is combine files as a PDF. So you can combine your cover sheet and you can combine what the student's submitting as one file, and then they submit that all at once. So if they've done a PowerPoint, for instance, they save that as a PDF, they save their cover sheet as a PDF, and they just come here and combine them together as one. So it makes things a lot easier. And they can even organize pages and move things around once they've done that combining to make it look the way they want it to look.
Stephen,
yep, questions?
sorry, Stephen, there was an earlier question from Victoria. I don't think it's been picked up yet. It's very in files. The question is, read file sizes to print. I've been told that Adobe are working on this as many are US size defaults. They are working on this. Is that correct?
Yes. So when you go in and you create a new document, so let's create a new document, and let's just go for a flyer from scratch. When we go into our sizings, it is automatically set to American printing sizes on there. But there are lots of different options, and you are able to go in and modify things to how you want it to be on there. So unfortunately, it doesn't just say A4, which would be the easiest. But it does have a lot of different options there for you to pick from. And if you know the sizes, you've got it in inches, centimeters, millimeters, or pixels. So you're able to change it to whichever size you want it to be, and be very specific in that if you want to be. Just thinking, we've got custom sizes here as well. And again, that's in pixels, inches, centimeters, or millimeters for you. So you can just make your custom size right to begin with on there. It is slightly frustrating. It's not quite what we'd want it over in the UK, but it tends to just mean your margins are slightly bigger than you'd usually have them at, for instance, because I think they use B sizes rather than using A sizes, but I'm not entirely sure.
Brilliant. Thank you, Stephen. Sorry, Stephen, as well. Beth has signed in on an account, created an account. Now she wants to delete that to try and go on through the Creative Cloud. Do you know how you would delete an unpaid account?
Your best bet for that would be open up Creative Cloud itself. So you should have Creative Cloud on your system if you've got it.
She's found a way to delete it. It's all right. She's answered.
Oh, you found a way to delete it. Oh, that's okay then.
Thanks, Beth.
Well, when you open up Creative Cloud, Adobe Express is right there, and you can click that, and that'll automatically sign you in through that route on there. What other things have we got? Generating QR codes, always useful. We always want to have QR codes for various different things. Yes, Beth, your hands up.
Yeah, I do. I've been trying to follow along and also go to the app and explore it. So I embed the learning instead of just having it all go by me in a blur.
Yep.
So when I followed the link you gave me and I put in my university address, and like another person said, how do you tell if you're on the educator platform? And you had said, well, if you are, you'll get prompts to for class instead of just Instagram stuff. So I didn't see anything that was saying I could make a lesson plan or a class poster or anything. So my question is, I could do this all again. I've got the Cloud tab open at the moment, but just using my university email address doesn't seem to be enough to mean Adobe will recognize I want an educator account.
That might be something to bring up with your IT department, to contact Adobe and to specify that instead of an enterprise set of customers, you're an education set of customers. Universities can often sort of straddle that boundary a little bit on there. I know as Americans would call it, K-12, it's a lot clearer. But universities can be that sort of like muddied middle ground on there. Go on, Marion, since you're on there.
I was just when we were just talking about logging in and all of that.
Yes.
What I did a couple of years ago was I literally, when I realised that we'd probably got institutional access, what I literally did, simpleton's approach, is I just went to the university web and I typed in the search box Adobe Creative Cloud. And what came up was a load of instructions about whether there was a license and how to log in. And I've been logged in for several years actually and used it. Not like this though. This is unbelievable. But all I've used it is Adobe Premiere Pro, so for video editing, which you can also access if you've got the university account. And I've used it for things like just modifying a PDF or creating one or signing a PDF and things like that. And it does ask you, because I've got a personal account as well, it does ask you when it comes up, when you try to log in, it says, which account do you want? Personal, and it gives that email, or your academic account, and it gives your academic account. And Creative Cloud is available all the time, basically, in your systems tray at the bottom. If you type it in, it comes up as an app, and you can download little bits of software. So I found it just by literally looking at the university website and finding out from there how you create an account and log in. So I don't know whether that helps anybody or not, but
no, that's perfect, Marion. Thank you. Well, as with most software things, your first stop should always be at your university with your IT team, just to make sure you're following the right steps for things. On the personal account, you can do the vast majority of stuff. The only reason really to have that university access is it gives you access to the stock images, it gives you access to the Adobe fonts and things like that, and it gives you that cross connectivity with other Adobe programs that you might use. I'm just trying to think of one or two other things for you. Maybe asked what's the maximum recording length for audio in the Animate from Audio. It's 2 minutes. So 2 minutes of audio will work in there. If you're wanting to do more than 2 minutes, I tend to use Premiere Pro, as Marion was talking about there, which is their comprehensive video editing suite. So when I do my Animate from Audio, I'll have already recorded what I'm wanting to do. So in that case, I will make my size usually just a 1:1 square. I'll make my character whatever scale within that I want it to be. And I'll set my background to a nice bright green. Or if there's a lot of green on my character, I might go for red or a different colour that will blend in. I'll then use the browse function to find the file that I want to use. And I'll have cut it up already into 2-minute slots. So I'll do the first one, download that as a video file from here once it's done it. I'll then put the next 2 minutes in, download that, and then slot it all together. So you're using more complicated approaches for it. But through doing that, I'm able to have my TikTok channel of the Data Daddy. And on here, I have loads of different videos of varying lengths that all have that Adobe Animate from Audio built into it on there. So you can see originally I'd have my face at the bottom corner, and then I've got different tools on there as well. So this one's slightly relevant to what we're doing on here as well. So
you may have noticed that Teams now comes with its own video backgrounds. But did you know you're capable of replacing them with images of your own? In the search bar at the bottom, you want to enter the code that I'm going to put up on the screen in a moment. This will open.
So that's using the Animate from Audio to animate this little dude in the bottom corner. One of the tools that it's also got on here, and I use the Premiere Pro version of it, but if you don't have Premiere Pro, there is a captioning option. So you can caption your videos in Adobe Express just by uploading them into there for you. And that'll build a transcript and a caption, and you edit it to say what you want it to say rather than it's just guessing at it for you. You're able to modify it to what you need. And you're able to build all sorts of different interactive videos. Or, well, not interactive videos, but videos that are a bit more accessible, that deal with that presenter fatigue that students can get on there. The actual accuracy of the auto captions, Anthony, it's pretty good. I have a slightly northern accent, so it can trip up on them sometimes. I usually end up having to change probably one word every 20 seconds of audio or something similar like that. Usually when I've said something like, if you're on phone or something like that, and it comes up with something to do with foam on there, and you've got to go in and change it to it. Or if I've said something particularly quickly, and it sort of concatenates it into something, then you go and edit that out. But it's the same as you'd get with any sort of auto captioning tool on there. But what's good with this is you can change how it displays on the screen. You can embed it and burn it into the video, or you can have it as a separate captions file that you can then upload to whatever site you're using for it. Just a couple of other use cases before I pass over to any questions. It's good that you shouted up Anthony. Anthony's somebody who's on my master's course with me, and him and me and Katie worked together to create this multimodal assignment for our masters, which came out as a dissertation, and it was built almost entirely using Adobe products for it. So the videos are hosted on Adobe Express. The any animations in there came from Adobe. The images, everything came through, and this is a web page built in Adobe Express, and you're able to embed your videos in. And there's a little dude talking at the side for us on there. So if I just close out of that, we've got the various different ways it's laid out as you go through, and these images making it that bit more engaging, that bit more easy to follow for us. As we go down, it's still got that level of academic rigor going throughout all of it for it. Able to make little graphics that pop out that bit more using Express. And as we go further down, because it's quite a lot to scroll through, it was a many thousands of words essay on there. We've even got a thing that Anthony made looking at a potential framework that we could use, and that was made using creative tools as well on there for the infographic. So it ends up being a really useful multimodal tool for doing assignments with on there. And the last thing I want to show is using videos. You may have noticed my very festive background on my screen at the moment. That video came from Adobe. So I was able to come into Adobe Express and set up a video. I chose that video and cut off some of the more moving-y bits, downloaded it, and then put it into Teams to use as my video background on there. So you get lots of different functionalities. Charlotte's asked, would I recommend that format over Sway? Personally, yes, I would. You get a lot more freedom over how you interact with it. I'm not sure if that'd be the same for you, Anthony. Sorry to shout you out in front of all of these people. But what do you think? Did you find it easier to use as a collaborative project than Sway would have been? Yes, he's agreed. Sway feels more limited. Roger, that's brilliant. Enjoy your next meeting as much as you can enjoy meetings throughout the day. And he said that he shared it with his advertising students, and it's definitely going to be something that they'll be using from now on. Simon, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, just wondering, is it easy to sort of share and collaborate on documents then? You mentioned sort of working on this one as your team. Is it a case of sharing them to OneDrive or something, or is there something in Express where you can do that?
There's a share function built in, and it can be shared with people who don't have the access as well. If you have the access and somebody else doesn't, so I'm just going to jump back into the thing quickly. You've got a share button up the top here. On everything that you make, there's always a share button, and you can click that, and you can invite collaborators, or you can publish it to web, or you can schedule to post it online. So that invite collaborators, you can write in their email addresses, and they would then be able to work on this particular project with you on there. And it doesn't matter if they've got the full access or not, they'll be able to access it. It may say, oh, you can't use this particular thing at the moment because you don't have the access to that font or whatever, but the person who set it up would be able to go back and put those fonts on after the fact. Just trying to think if there's anything else to show whilst I'm still on this side of things. I don't think so. I mean, you've got marketing things in there for making invitations, posters, business cards, logos, certificates, which could be quite useful. It's really good for making things for social media. It's got lots of ideas on there for how you could build things already. You've got your video editing things that you can use, photo editing, and document creating and editing as well. And earlier on, Neil said he hadn't seen WooClap before. This is why I like using WooClap. This is a functionality that I've not seen in any of the other competitors for it. So loads of good things coming through. Alternative forms of assessment, that's the perfect one on there. That's exactly what I would say you should be aiming to use this for. Across the board, it's not just for creatives. My assignments that I've done, I'm doing digital education. It's not artistic in its approach at all, but I found it was able to unlock my creativity a little bit more by going through there. It could be used for health promotion, leaflets, posters, more exciting poster presentations, animated videos to embed in Moodle and potentially H5P ones. Yeah, that'd be great. Charlotte's asked, when you have created your poster, is it yours or yours alone? Unless you share it, it doesn't become part of a gallery for other users to see. No, it doesn't become part of a gallery. It is just yours, and it's with that hyperlink that they can access it on there. People are seeing value of using it as infographics, and for training teachers, for doing digital learning, helping their 10-year-olds with homework, making learning more fun and more creative than feeding back and flip chart paper. Indeed. I've seen it used before. The video function, you can put in, you could just make a video of things that students have said in feedback. So for you said we did sort of thing, you could put in, this is what you said. this is what we did. And you're not having to put an image in the background there, it's just putting the text in there, and it becomes that bit more interactive and particularly good for sharing out on advertising displays. Good for generating content for social media, for all events, advice and guidance for colleagues. Exactly, it's perfect for that. And creating various different presentations, party invitations, things like that. There is one other use case that we've been using it for at Regents. We've actually created a library. Now a couple of things that they've got brands and they've got libraries. So if you wanted to make something that was just for your department and everybody followed the same colours, everybody followed the same designs, or if it was just for your university and you wanted to make sure your logo was there in everything, you can create a brand and say, this is the logo, this is the set colours that we use. And then everything that's made within that brand by anybody who's got access to that brand will follow those colours, will follow that layout that you've given. In libraries, we've got a Regents library, and we actually share a learner journey map out with our lecturers, and they're then able to start a new file using that as the basis for it. So we've created the general layout of the infographic with the week by week that we want. They then click start new file, and they're able to go in and edit it to be relevant to their course. So they're able to come in and change the different text, change what the titles are for each thing, going down when the assessments are, put hyperlinks in if they want to in there. We also do the same with banners as well. Now, this isn't as much of a problem anymore in Blackboard, since they brought out the new create a banner from Unsplash function on there. But we had a lot of issues with people not making banners that were the right size, not using decent images for it. So we created a banner, and this is exactly the right size. And we've used the Basics Regents background on there, but it means people can click in and change that image to be whatever they want it to be, and it will be the right size for them. They could add text onto it, and we know the text will look good because it's coming from Adobe. So it's been quite a useful tool for that as well. So lots and lots of different things that you can do with it, really. I've just had the 5-minute warning come up, so I'm going to go for any questions at this point. But if anybody does want to contact me at any point and ask any questions, I'm always on Twitter. I refuse to call it X, as Steve Taylor Edu. You can find me on LinkedIn, Stephen Taylor Education, and just reach out to me. I'm always there.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Stephen, so much. Fantastic, and gives us lots to think about. Superb. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Okay, we're nearly finished. So again, massive thanks to Stephen. At this point, we'll shout out for the next event, which is the 6th of December.